which books have influenced me. I think a key book is Stephen King's On Writing, because not only does it contain the tools of grammar and syntax and all that kind of stuff in part 2, basically how to write. It's a tool. I highly recommend it to anybody if you want to be a writer, because he breaks it down for you. But it starts with a memoir, and he talks about how some writers write with pin-sharp accuracy about their lives. I had this listening to Bill Cosby. How does he remember all that stuff from his childhood? And Stephen King says, some writers write with pin-sharp accuracy. It's laser focus. I write as if I'm driving in the fog. I can only see a little bit ahead of me. Wherever the lights stop, that's where I stop. And I drive to there, and then I see a bit more, and then I write a bit more until I've got a piece of work. And I thought, that's a really good approach. I may not be able to write it with pin-sharp accuracy and laser vision, but I can ask people about stuff. I can do a bit of research. I can think deeply, and I can just try and get it down on the page. And the thing is, Stephen King encourages you to just get it written and to try and write hard and clear about whatever it is you're writing about. And I did that. And I had good feedback from Walter at Faber and from the senior editors there, and from my family and from my partner Lisa. People pitched in to give me feedback because they knew how important this was to me, and they wanted me to get it right. So Stephen King, I've written other books as well. Neil Gaiman is a good friend of mine, and he reads stuff, and he said, "You're being very brave." And that kept cropping up, that word, brave. But I was trying to be as honest as I could. I love Alan Moore. Who else do I like? Toni Morrison, Alice Walker. Because they write in a way, Ben Okri, they write in a way that's straightforward, yet with a sense of magic realism. And I think that's why I wanted to include cartoon strips in the book, because I didn't just want it to be a straight prose read. I like the idea of turning a page and going, "Oh, what's this?" And then suddenly you've got to read a comic for 3 pages. And I've loved comics since I was 9, since Auntie Pearl gave me a copy of the X-Men and said, "Read that." I read the X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, anything by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, any DC stuff, all that great Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen stuff that DC did, the Beano, the Dandy, Dan Dare, TV21. I read all those things. So to me, reading has been a survival mechanism for me. Reading's really, really important. I read all the time when I was a kid, and which is why libraries are so important. Auntie Pearl made me join the library, and it was this extraordinary source of quite adult things if you were cheeky. I could go and read any book I wanted to read, and some of them were quite adult. And so I was ahead of the game as far as English was concerned, because I was reading ahead of what I was supposed to be reading. So reading in general was my hero, and I still love it to this very day.